2 The Redline Productions proudly presents today's 2 The Redline review was made possible in part by
Hey YouTube. Well, today I'd like to go over this used car that I'm actually quite familiar with. This is a 2003 Lincoln LS. Now, the LS actually was the vehicle that was responsible for bringing a lot of younger buyers into Lincoln showrooms. And, you know, a lot of people have been waiting for Lincoln to give us a replacement for the LS, because the one thing about the LS is it's actually based on the Jaguar S-Type, same platform. It's a rear-wheel drive sports sedan. Lincoln doesn't have a rear-wheel drive sports sedan. This is one of their only ones that came out in this decade, at least. And also, this car was one of the first Lincolns, or one of the only Lincolns, really, you could get with a manual transmission when it first came out in 2000. Now, 2000 was the first model year of this car. This one's an 03, which was actually the first year that they updated the styling. You can tell the new styling from the new taillights in the back, slightly different bumper trim, new headlights, new front bumper in the trim, new wheels. Another big difference is the engine. This car is available with 2 engines. This particular one is the V8, the one that I'm actually quite familiar with, because our vice president of To The Redline, his parents used to actually have an 04 LS that we used to drive in high school back a long time ago. Well, the 04 that they had, actually, I really liked that car. It was a nice car. This car is just, it drives really sporty, which a lot of Lincolns don't usually do, and that's partly the reason why it made it so popular. I don't mind the styling, and this one's a cream puff, only 54,000 miles, and it's really clean. Like, this one is probably one of the nicest condition LSs I've ever seen, and it's a really nice medium or steel blue metallic paint color. Just a rare car. I haven't actually seen an LS in this color, so it was a really nice find to show you guys this vehicle. Coming to the interior, you do have a gray leather interior with perforated, and the seats are heated and cooled. Getting inside, the interior in here is quite familiar to that Thunderbird that I showed you, and as you can, and obviously I said that those 2 vehicles are the same. Here's the old key for the vehicle, very old Lincoln key. They don't even use this style key anymore. It does have a power tilt telescoping steering wheel, so that's really nice as well. I really like the font on these gauges. Much better than the font that was in the T-Bird, but you can see the instrument panel is quite similar. And this one's just a cream puff, only 54,000 miles on it. The windows are fully automatic up and down for the driver and the front passenger. I'm not sure why the window refuses to go up. You guys saw that, right? Hold on, let's try this again. Okay. Yeah, the window refuses to go up. But anyways, coming to the rest of the interior, you do have a really nice interior in this vehicle. The materials are soft touch. Now, when the car first came out, it was hammered for being on the cheap side. I do see a little bit of that cheapness. I mean, some of the painted plastic in here, which is in really good shape, is just kind of like Ford quality, Ford grade, old Ford at least. And this piece here is kind of cheap. In 04, they improved the interior quality by giving it real wood accents, real aluminum trim. I remember Matt's parents had the wood grain on the steering wheel. That looked much better than this. This looks kind of on the plain side. This car does have an electronic parking brake. It was one of the first Lincolns to have an electronic parking brake, so it's kind of cool. It does have advanced track as well, and you can hear that old Ford dinger every time you turn it on and off. What I love about it, it's got heated and cooled seats. I always loved using the cooled seats when I was growing up and we used to use this car. But in terms of everything else, the steering is rather on the thin side. It's not really that fat, but I mean, it's a pretty nice interior. Coming to the door panels, you have soft touch right here on the door panels. You got the chrome accented or chrome plated door handles. Soft touch right here, soft touch right there. It's all, you can even see it's lined with carpet down on that part right there, but it is hard plastic. You can see it's taking a little bit of beating. Coming to the back seat, the LS does have a fairly decent back seat, although for how big this vehicle is, I'm surprised it's not longer. Coming inside the back seat, actually, there's pretty good thigh support in here. The seat cushion is pretty low, and there's a very large center tunnel here for the drive shaft, but you do get vents back here. You get a nice armrest back here with cup holders. You don't get adjustable head restraints. You can tell this is an older design from that. Closing the door in the back, you can see the door panels are soft touch, and they pretty much follow through. You get a nasty ashtray right here, just because rich people apparently like to smoke. The trunk of this vehicle is fairly large, and you can see it actually opens opens automatically when you push the button. It's a very large opening, as you can see. The liftover height's a bit on the high side, but it's not very deep. It's kind of goes in, it's very wide, but it's not very deep. And you do have your spare tire, which will be underneath here with the battery, which is back here as well. That's always been an LS thing. Anyways, here is the 3.9 liter V8 engine that was updated for 2003. I'm sorry I couldn't show you guys a more mean sounding rev part, but the engine's computer was pretty aggressive. I actually floored the throttle a couple times. It won't let it go past 3 and it revs pretty slowly. But I'll show you guys how the car drives. Like I said, the V8 was updated in 03. The look of the engine's actually different. If you look at it in 02 or just look at that Thunderbird video, the V8 engine looks different. 280 horsepower is what it produces now, and 286 foot-pounds of torque, up from the 252 that was in that 02 model or the T-Bird. And with the V8, the LS moves really well. The other engine was a 3-liter V6, also from Jaguar, which made 232 horsepower for 03 or 210 for pre-03 models. That's the one that was able to stick. You could not get a V8 with the stick, unfortunately. Alright, so for those of you who are in the market for one of these used LSs, let's take a look at how this car drives, shall we? I really like the way the V8 sounds when it starts up. It's a really nice sound. Anyways, in terms of how the car drives, it's actually quite nice. The LS, what was really special about it, was one of the few Lincolns that actually had a close to perfect 50-50 weight distribution. This car has a 52 front, 48 weight distribution, so it actually handles really nice. That's the one thing I like about the LS. It doesn't drive like any other Lincoln I've driven, or Ford for that matter, and I really hope that Ford brings back this brings back a rear-wheel drive replacement for this car. The steering is on the light side, and it actually has pretty decent feel. The car, the one thing about it though, is it is a bit long. It's got a really long hood. The back end is really long, so you will have to get used to that. But the ride in this car is just perfect. It's got just the right balance of ride and handling. And the transmission, despite the issues that it had in the past, this one shifts perfectly. It shifts much better than that T-Bird that I showed you guys before. It shifts really smoothly. I love the way that V8 sounds when you're accelerating it. It's pretty quick. 0 to 60 times for this car was about 7.2 seconds about, with 280 horsepower. You do get a little manual mode here, which doesn't really work that well, honestly. It doesn't rev match on your downshifts. But this transmission, surprisingly, is shifting perfectly. Not the herky jerkiness that the T-Bird had, but the steering is nice. This car is just nice. I am impressed with the condition that the previous owner left this car in. It's got plenty of life in it. And I mean, this car is comfortable. The seats are comfortable. It's quiet. And I just really wish that Lincoln would bring back a rear-wheel drive replacement. My only complaint probably is the brakes. They feel a little bit on the spongy side, but it's because this is a fairly big vehicle. But anyways, if you guys are in the market for one of these used LSs and you happen to find one in this kind of condition, I definitely would recommend an 03 and up model, just because it was updated in 03 with new styling and new V8s. 04, you'll see, has the slightly better interior versus this one. And then 06 is actually the last model year. It's when they replaced this car with the Zephyr, which wasn't really a replacement for this car. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed my overview of this 2003 Lincoln LS. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys later.
Yeah, here's some legal stuff for you. The views and opinions expressed in the following video may not necessarily reflect those of the title-holding automotive dealer or the entity they represent. All videos are filmed with permission by a professional driver on a set course with the collaboration and assistance of local law enforcement authorities. Do not attempt. Logos and brandings of vehicle manufacturers, dealerships, and online social media sites are the sole property of their respective representation, used with permission. The To The Redline logo, soundtrack, and web resources, as well as all other associated media, are copyrighted intellectual property of To The Redline LLC. All rights reserved.